What is the exact mechanical alternative? How does Dini Fitrat Din-e-Islam actually structure a state without falling into the same traps?
This is where the blueprints move from the diagnostic phase to the engineering phase. The sources mandate what they call a binary structure mechanics for a valid natural constitution.
Binary, meaning it must be explicitly divided into two distinct parts.
Yes. They reference verse 18.26, which states that Allah does not let anyone share in his command. To fulfill this mathematically and structurally, the constitution must be completely bifurcated.
Okay, let's look at the schematic for this. Part 1 of this constitution is labeled Immutable Principles. This consists of the Quran and the Sunnah. The text is very clear. These are fixed, absolute metaphysical truths, zero edits allowed.
Because these principles represent the unchangeable constants of nature, you cannot vote to amend them. Just like you cannot hold a parliamentary vote to amend the laws of thermodynamics, they dictate the absolute boundaries of justice, economics, and human rights.
Right. And then you have Part 2 labeled Adaptable Statecraft. This consists of working policies based on rational wisdom and acquired knowledge. This part is fluid.
Extremely fluid.
Yeah, it evolves with time, technology, changing climates, and new circumstances.
Yeah.
And this is the critical systemic catch. Part 2 must remain strictly subordinate to Part 1.
The structural separation here is vital. The analysis explains exactly why you cannot simply take the Quran and merge it into a standard secular unified constitution.
And this was a huge question for me when reading this. Why can't you just take the Quranic laws, copy-paste them into a modern national constitution, call yourself an Islamic republic, and be done with it?
Because of how a unified secular constitution legally functions. The mechanics of a single document mean that every clause inside it shares the same structural authority. If you merge divine eternal law and man-made administrative law into one single document, all the laws inside that document become structurally equal in status.
Okay, let me build an analogy to make sure the mechanics of this are clear. It's like trying to put the laws of physics and the local municipal speed limit into the exact same legal category.
Oh, yeah.
You can absolutely change the speed limit. A city council can vote to change it from 55 to 65 based on traffic data. That's adaptable statecraft. But if you put gravity into the exact same category in the same document, you give a parliament the structural illusion that they have the jurisdiction to hold a vote to repeal gravity.
That is an incredibly precise analogy. If the Quran is just one part of a unified secular constitution, then the parliament, the Tughut, assumes the overarching authority over the entire document. This means they are structurally empowered to add, remove, or amend prohibited laws. For instance, they could vote to legalize riba, which is usury or interest, or alter social regulations like LGBT laws. And they would do this in the name of the country-state flag god idol, not Allah.
Because if the parliament has the power to ratify the Constitution, they implicitly claim they have the power to ratify divine law.
Yeah.
They would be claiming jurisdiction over the Creator's code.
Exactly. And that mechanical act is what the texts define as structural shirk, the ultimate sin of associating partners with God's absolute command. By physically and mathematically separating the mutable working policy, which is Part 2, from the eternal principle in Part 1, you dismantle the authority of the Tughut. You mechanically dismantle the country-state flag god idol. You prove that the state only has administrative power, the power to set speed limits and organize waste collection, not absolute legislative sovereignty over morality and human nature.
So by physically separating the document into two independent pillars, you're physically separating the authority. The Tughut can tinker with traffic laws, zoning ordinances, and tax brackets for infrastructure in Part 2, but they cannot even touch Part 1. It acts as an impenetrable firewall.
Perfectly said.